Good evening. Welcome to the regular monthly City Council meeting for the City of Hamlet. We're glad to see everyone here tonight. Hopefully the weather will continue to hold for us. It's nice out there. The first item of business is invocation to be given by the Reverend John Jackson of New Hope Baptist Church. Reverend Jackson, if you'll come up, please.
Let us pray. This evening, our Heavenly Father, this again, Lord, we have to say thank you. We thank you, Father, for another day, and this is the day that we shall rejoice in because it's the day that thou hast made. And Father, as I stand here tonight before this board, I pray, God, in the mighty name of Jesus, that you, Elohim, you are the possession of the heaven and the earth. And God, you put us here to manage the things here on this earth and be good stewards over what you have put in our hands. And Father, as I pray tonight and pray for this board as they make the decision for the county and for Richmond County, for Hamlet, North Carolina. And I thank you, God, again for this opportunity. I thank you for the mayor inviting me to come here and be here tonight. I don't take it lightly, but I show you gratitude. And Father, I pray tonight that you told us to acknowledge you in all our ways and you would direct our paths. So I'm praying tonight, Father, that every decision that they make tonight, Father, that they would come before you, Father, with the decision, Lord. And I pray, God, when they make the decision with you on their mind. And oh, Father, again, I thank you for this opportunity. I pray that you continue to bless this board, continue to strengthen this board, continue to let this board take this city forward, Lord, in the mighty name of Jesus. And again, Father, I just thank you for your people that pressed their way out tonight, Father. They could have been anywhere else, but they chose to be here tonight, Father. And I pray whatever they come and looking for tonight, that they receive it on tonight in the mighty name of Jesus. And again, God, I thank you for this opportunity to stand here tonight to pray this prayer before this board. And I pray and ask you, God, let's continue to bless him, continue to keep him. For we ask you this now in the powerful name of Jesus. And in Jesus' precious name, I pray. Let the name of the Lord say, amen.
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 Thank you, Reverend Jackson. Gentlemen, the next item number 3, is adoption of the agenda. What are your wishes?
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes. You have before you at this time minutes from the March 6th and 7th of 2015 budget planning retreat. You also have before you the March 10th, 2015 regular and closed sessions. What are your wishes on that?
So moved to approve March 6th, 7th, and 10th regular meeting and closed session minutes.
Thank you. I've got a motion.
Hold
Hold it.
I'm finishing them.
Oh, okay.
Still working?
Yeah. Would you table that just for
Yep.
come back?
Okay, we'll come back to that. Thank you.
Rescind that motion, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Don't let me forget to go back to that one.
Okay.
Yeah, item number 5. At this time, we open that part of our session for comments from the attendees. If there is anyone here tonight that has anything that they would like to address to council that is not on the agenda, that we would ask you to come forth and come up to the microphone and state your name and tell us what you need to tell us or ask. Mr. Strickland, good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be here tonight. I'm sorry I missed getting on the agenda, but my time frame just wasn't right. But anyway, I have a couple of items I wanted to bring before you tonight. And I am Jimmy Strickland. I'm a tax-paying resident of the city of Hamlet. Live out in the Boyd Lake community. First thing, I wanted to thank the firemen who come down to the Depot Museum, take our fire truck, bring it up here, clean it up, wash it, and bring it back down there. We really appreciate that, and we just wanted them to know that we thank you for doing that, and just wanted them to know that we are thinking of them when they take it out and clean it up, bring it back to us. The next thing is if I could have permission to approach council with some photographs.
Sure. Okay. And if you'd like to go ahead with what you're
Okay, I
talking about
think
while we're looking.
the first 4 pictures that I have here are the pictures of a house at 253 Boyd Lake Road. It's in the middle of the Hamlet Lake Court trailer park. That house has been vacant for many years. The owners of it have been deceased for many years. I tried to get some information from the tax department today, and they went back about 11 or 12 years, and no taxes have been paid on it in that period of time that they could come up with. So the house is deplorable. It's full of trash. It's surrounded by trash and garbage. And I wish that there was something that we could do about it. And I appeal to you tonight to try to do something. I don't know the procedure, but something has to be done, and there should be some way for something to be done. If you would, ride by and look at it. I mean, it needs to be done away with, really. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the mobile homes in Hamlet Lake Court. And as you can see from those pictures, there's over a dozen homes out there. There's currently, I think, 2 families living in those mobile homes. Most of them don't have doors on them. They don't have windows. They don't have floors in them. People have robbed the steps going to them, the heating and air conditioning units. They're deplorable. There's trash piled up all around them. I go by this thing every day, 2 or 3 times a day. And I understand that something's trying to be done by the owner, but these are mobile homes. They're way out of date. They can't be updated, in my opinion. And I would like for council to try to do something about, even if they're abandoned and not used, something needs to be done about removing them. And I'd just like for something to be done. The last time we came down to council and complained about them, we were told that everything at that particular time was up to code. And I assure you today, these pictures were made today, and there's nothing out there, in my opinion, that would be considered up to code. And something needs to be done about it. And if you would, take time, ride through there. It won't take you 3 minutes, but just look at the junk, the trash, and the vermin that's all through that whole trailer park. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate it. Ms. Strickland, would you, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any comments on that? Thank you.
Both of these, the home on Boyd Lake Road, as well as the mobile home park, were both given to our inspector a good month ago. I received the reports from him today. A certified letter went out in the mail today to the owner of the mobile home park with a list of all the violations, and they are numerous. And his recommendation is that we would possibly, if the owner does not take care of removing the ones that are unrepairable, that the city then proceed with condemnation of it. So that letter went out today. I did not get to the other letter. However, I know that when I mailed the letter to the residents, it's going to come right back to me. There are no heirs. I have been everywhere that I know to look to try to find someone with this. Like you said, the owners are deceased. There are no one listed as an estate. So there is no one for us to find. There is no one for us to hold responsible to take it down. If it comes down, it's going to have to be that will be one that the city will take down. So that's what I can tell you at this point.
Okay, thank you.
In the Hamlet Lake Court, I did give the property owner 30 days to give us a detailed written plan with specifics of what he was going to do to remove or to repair. And I put in the letter that we would have a hearing with him that following Monday at 10 a.m. to see what he planned to do. And if he does not, then we will come to council. Of course, this will involve getting the building inspector of the county involved to condemn the properties. But with council's approval, that's how we'll move forward if the property owner does not take care of it.
Please.
The 253 address, the home that's, we can't find anyone. As far as the items that's outside and the opening of the doors and the windows, is there any action we can take until we can do something with that property?
A lot of that is a matter, we were advised before not to go on property to board up, that we assume liability issues when we do so. So I think if council wants to move forward, the thing to do rather than partially repairing it would be to move forward with actually abating the house.
How long will that take if we started today?
Well, now, like I said, I haven't even read the report today that I received. I got them late this afternoon. I had about 10. I was working on some other issues. So I knew that the Hamlet Lake Court was the most threatening, I think, as far as the neighborhood. So I have been advised that we should probably get the police involved in this as well because of some other issues going on there. So I have not read the report, but I do know it's been an existing problem. But there is no one to serve, but there's still a process that you have to go through.
Well,
So,
that takes more for-
nuisance source code. But Ms. Strickland's right that you can serve the property and meet legal notice requirements even if, it's no longer owned by anyone. I would say at a minimum, using any of the processes, you're probably looking at probably 2 months, and that may be overly optimistic
I really think so.
because at some point,
6 months.
if she goes through her legal process, she'd want to bring it back to council to get authorization to demolish the structure. And we don't want to have staff doing that on their own
You got to
initiative.
have a hearing, right?
well, and then you still have to have asbestos inspections.
Correct.
They have to be sent off. You still have to do your bid packets. You have to get your bids.
Yep.
So you're easily looking at 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, I have one question. What would our legal standing be, though, if we just went out there and cleaned the trash up around the place? I looked at the picture up here. There's just trash laying all around it. And
Let me take a look at our ordinance, because if our ordinance on public nuisances is the way many towns are, we could declare some part of the property, say trash, to be a public nuisance and may be able to abate that at the city's cost fairly quickly. I'm actually trying to pull up the ordinance now, and if I can, I may be able to provide you all some guidance later.
I wouldn't want to do it if we knew who a homeowner was. This particular house has no owner, and that picture, it's a terrible amount of trash.
He didn't show you quite all the pictures of the vacant mobile homes out there.
Right,
but
yeah.
There's a lot of them standing wide open.
That
Yeah, I know.
trash
And
is
they've
not,
been-
that
they've
trash
been-
is
people
not
been
coming
through-
from that home, though.
But
That house has been vacant for more than 12 years.
He's
that
talking
I
about
know
the
of.
trailer.
I'm talking about the trailers,
Trailers.
the mobile homes. There's several of them standing open. I think
Right.
there's some theft that's occurred,
We
probably
do not,
wiring.
yeah, we don't need to go on that property. We need to move quickly with taking care of the issue, but
But-
we have to give notice to the property owner
Right.
and
Well,
give
the
him
point
the
I'm making
opportunity.
is right now with the doors wide open and kids around that area, that's concerns me.
And you're going to be looking at school being out in the next
Yeah,
month and a
that's
half.
right.
Ballparks in that area, very, very dangerous. Mr. Morphus, the requirements for taking down houses
Mhm,
and trailers,
mhm,
because of course trailer wouldn't necessarily have to be taken down.
mhm.
You could technically haul it off. Is it the same process? In other words, would it be the same requirements
Mhm.
being met to serve the house as it
Mhm.
would be the trailer, since the trailer is a mobile
Well,
home?
I'm going to give
None
you.
of them have brick underpinning, they all have the skirting.
They don't pay for
And I'm going to give you a good lawyer answer.
it's still there.
Yeah, the answer is it depends on the process we're using. And Gail's going to know the process that Hamlet uses a whole lot better than I do.
Ours does not differentiate in any way.
Right.
It just says the structure, the building, nothing is addressed as far as mobile home or stick-built home.
Yeah, and the short answer, do we have a minimum housing code in Hamlet, correct? So you could abate it under either minimum housing or under sort of public nuisance theory. Mobile homes technically are not regulated by the state building code, but if you have an abandoned home that is unlivable, I've always taken the position it can be removed under minimum housing or as a nuisance.
See, that's what I'm thinking about, as far
Well,
as, there's no doors and no
Yeah.
windows in there, there's no property inside the house. I
Can
mean,
you
it's
do a
just
nuisance abatement though? Padlock it, have it removed that way, and that probably would be quicker than condemning it?
Well, I'd want to get with the staff and talk about it and see
Yeah, of course
what
we
we think the
want that
best
to happen,
process
too.
is. But the answer is if it's serious enough, if it's urgent enough, you can declare something like a vacant mobile home to be a public nuisance. Or I've seen it done under the minimum housing code. It may be possible under a nuisance theory where you actually board up a house. Say the house is vacant and you just don't want people going in and using it, like vandalizing it or what have you. I've had municipalities board up the home. You may be able to do something similar with a mobile home, but I'd want to talk with the staff about what's going to give us our most bang for our buck, what's going to be the most efficient way to do it. So, number of questions, but it could be taken down.
If we go through a nuisance abatement, that's Superior Court too, and that would,
Um,
because they'd have to give opportunity to contest it, and the judge would rule on it.
Well, that's if they contest it.
If,
I
yeah,
mean,
if they contest it, but
you
it's still
know,
got to go before him, I believe.
Well, and that's why I need to look at our
Yeah.
process. I haven't looked at what we have in our ordinance, but we have statutory clear nuisances. Most towns, and I assume Hamlet's no exception, has a nuisance abatement process. And typically what you have is it goes before the manager or the code enforcement officer, and then if they don't contest it, then you can you have the authority to abate the nuisance. Now, they could go into court if you ended up there, but that's not your first stop.
In that process, whose primary person would be served? Would it be the owner of the trailer or the owner of the property?
Owner
Well-
of the property.
Yeah.
Property.
Owner of the yes, and my hope is that when the property owner gets the letter and realizes the seriousness of this, and my hope is that they will realize when we have our hearing, they either need to move forward or we are. And if we move forward, then they're going to be the cost that they will be responsible for us to take it down. And hopefully they can take care of it in a better cost-effective manner to give them that opportunity. That would be my hope. And of course, I can't say
How
that's going
far
to
would
happen.
we be away from issuing fines?
How far? I have a hearing scheduled for May 18th, if that's the Monday. I believe that I scheduled the hearing. And at that time, if they have not provided their written plan of action, then we can implement fines
I
at
think we
that
need to
time.
go ahead and do that. I mean, there's a property owner listed.
I mean,
for-
that's what I've
for
done.
the-
He
for the
sent the
trailer
letter
park.
today.
That's what I have done.
Okay, so you have
I've
sent
done what I
that
can
letter.
today. You have to start, I got the inspection report today. I got the letter out today, set up a hearing date, set up a timeline for the written plan of action to begin, and we will see how the owner responds and move forward from there as quickly as we can.
Okay. And in that means,
I would definitely say, I know the mayor touched on it, Councilman McQueen and Presser touched on it too, the house, because it has no owner, and we could be looking at months down the road. I definitely think we need to try to do something about at least boarding that up for just safety measures, because there are kids around the area.
Isn't the back wall cut out of it? Isn't that what the picture was?
It's gone, yeah.
Yeah, that's something.
Back wall's
Cut
cut
it
out of
out.
it? Is that, do you think it's because they got the wiring out of it? Is that what happened?
Back wall in the trailer,
just the
Okay.
trailer,
back wall of the trailer.
the house is still intact.
Is the owner of the trailer park local or is he out of
That's a
town?
white
Yes.
trailer.
Is local.
Red trim.
Okay.
With the red trim,
I
okay.
thought so.
They tried to make it look like
I don't know, just whatever maybe we could do, if we can do anything.
Well, let me get with staff and
Yeah.
see what we can,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like Gail's already on top of it, and we'll
Oh, yeah.
see what we can do to
No
keep
doubt.
it moving.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Strickland.
I'd like-
Oh, wait a minute.
I'd like to address Jimmy Strickland and let him know that the city manager and myself have been out there. This is not the first time that he's seen this situation. And he assured me, we were out there a couple of weeks ago, and looking at this situation, the house, the trailers and everything. And sometimes you don't see the wheels turning, but they are turning to alleviate this situation out there. I just want you to know that, and others to know that we are and have been looking at it, thinking about it, trying to figure out a way. And the city manager has been out there himself personally looking at every one of these houses and trailers.
I thank you for that, and I do appreciate it. Sure do.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Strickland.
Mayor, I'd just like to reiterate in our budget, we've got $20,000.
I know, that's
set
going through
aside
my
for
mind.
demolition in one residence, one location. If it's got lead paint or nuisance or asbestos in it, that could be as upwards of $8,000 to $10,000 for removal and destruction of it. So, you know,
Okay.
again, we and try to encourage people to, and then we put a lien on the property, and the piece of property, most of these lots in town are worth, it might be worth $2,000 or $3,000, depending on the neighborhood. So, again, I'm going to state that I don't like spending taxpayer money to take care of other people's property, but I know we have to, especially in situations like this. But it would probably cost us $3 million to take care of the properties we've got, especially on the backside of Spring Street over there. I talked about that last month, Pine Street between there and Spring Street. It's like a war zone over there. It's sad. It's really sad that these people don't care any more about the properties than they do. But most of them are absentee homeowners, and they live out of state, and they don't care about it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone else? Is there anyone else tonight that's got anything they'd like to come up? If so, you're welcome. Okay, if not, we'll close that. We will go back to item number 4, approval of minutes. Mr. Presser, were you able to complete?
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
All right, so move to approve March 6th and 7th regular, our planning retreat minutes, as well as March 10th closed session minutes.
Okay, do I have a
Second.
second?
I'll
Got a
second.
second. Do I have any further changes, additions, deletions?
I have one comment. The closed session meetings, I don't think Councilman
Well, I was,
Bowie was in the closed session, so I
Yeah.
don't know that he could make
yeah,
a motion.
I was thinking the same thing.
That,
Right, okay.
so if you
I
would
signed
withdraw
off
that,
excuse from that one, too.
if you would just withdraw that motion, I'll just make a motion.
Okay,
on it.
Okay.
all right, let's take care of the March 6th and 7th, 2015 first. And I have a motion on that
And a second here.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now,
You do.
Now,
Sir?
Mr. Morph, would we need to vote to excuse him from voting on these, or just to stay within the?
Well, I think he can vote to approve the minutes. He's essentially saying, I didn't participate, and
Okay.
so I have
Because I
no
know
objection. That's
not vote
fine.
to be yes. I'd make a
Thank you for
motion that
asking.
we accept those closed session meetings.
I've got a motion.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
And we did write on there,
Yeah.
excuse and all that
Yeah,
to make
that's
sure.
right. That's right. Okay, at this time, Mr. Abernathy, we have a note on here to recognition of personnel.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, at this time, I'd like to welcome the new Hamlet Senior Center Director, Ms. Nikki Sewell. She is immediately coming from the Wagram Active Living Center, and we are just delighted to have her with us tonight, and with us in general. I've invited her out here tonight to introduce herself and say hello.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor and City Council. I thank you for allowing me to come out and introduce myself. As Mr. Abernathy said, my name is Nikki Sewell, and I am the new Senior Center Director. And this is a wonderful opportunity, and I'm so excited to be on board, as well as a bit nervous, but I know that, with hard work and determination and God on my side, that, things will be successful. I plan on creating a loving and welcoming atmosphere for the seniors to utilize for the purpose of health and happiness. Also, another goal of mine would be to return the Hamlet Senior Center to a center of excellence by the North Carolina Division of Aging and Adult Services. And I thank you for allowing me to be here tonight and introduce myself.
Thank you. We're very glad to have you with us. Did you have any others tonight, Mr. Abernathy?
No, sir, that is all.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll have a presentation by Ms. Twyla Allen from Lumber River Council of Governments with the Aging Division, and we're certainly glad to have you with us tonight, Twyla.
Good evening. Just to recap, I am a member of the Aging Division within the Lumber River Council of Governments. Jan Maynor, hopefully many of you know, she assigned jurisdictional assignments about 2 years ago. I've had the pleasure of serving with the City of Hamlet. I enjoy coming to your meetings. I usually like to come with some information. We're required to come at least twice during the calendar year. I always like to see you around December. Your town is so beautiful. But I come sharing information about 2 upcoming events that we have planned here in Richmond County, specifically in Hamlet. One is on May the 5th. We have some flyers that I'll leave. We're showing a documentary. It's called Alive Inside, A Story of Music and Memory. It actually won the Audience Award at the 2014 Sundance Festival. We're excited. They're showing this in Raleigh, a lot of the other larger metropolitan areas. We want to bring the focus on working with individuals that have memory impairment and tapping into the power of music versus using psychotropic medications. This is something that long-term care facilities can benefit from, as well as many of you know we have caregivers that are full-time in the home working with their loved ones. We are working on publicizing this event. If you can help us in any way, this is open and free to the public. It's going to be at 10 a.m. And it concludes at 12, and that includes a 30-minute panel because we do have a facility in Rayford, which is in Hoke County, that will be coming and demonstrating how it's been successful in their facility. We also have a local church that participates in Spirit Song, and they're also going to be on our panel to share information on how this can be incorporated into the religious sector of church services. The other event will be held in June. We are working with Ms. Nikki Sewell. I talked to her earlier today. I know this is only her second day and she's hit the ground running. We will be partnering with Hamlet Senior Center, again back at the Cole Auditorium, to hold a fraud workshop. Many of you, we hear those sad stories about older adults that fall victim to financial exploitation. We have a speaker from the Department of Justice that will be talking to our seniors about security freeze, how to check their credit. We're noticing a lot seniors are getting very savvy. They're not sharing their Social Security or their Medicare numbers, however, they're good credit. And unfortunately, it's with individuals that they know. So we hope that this afternoon will raise awareness and how they can stand up and fight back. But we'll make sure you get all that material so you can disseminate it. We'll be working with our local papers, senior centers, and getting the information out. But this will also be open to the public as well.
Twyla, where's
Yes.
that May the 5th?
It's at the Cole, and I
At the
forgot
Cole.
to give them recognition. They have worked, so they have volunteered their space for this event, so we greatly appreciate working with the community college. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Wow, we appreciate you coming over tonight. Okay, at this time we'll move to item 8 under old business. And this is public hearing number 1 on the road closing on the portion of Skyline Drive. And I believe you have the paperwork before you. At this time, we will entertain any issues that anyone has as far as the closing of this right of way. You guys see the pictures on the wall. It runs from Rollins Avenue over to Highland Avenue.
It's never been a thoroughfare, has it? That I can
think it
remember.
has.
There's no
Years ago, people used to use it a little bit,
But was it ever paved or anything?
no.
No gutter, nothing
It's
ever.
never been paved.
Does anyone else have anything regarding this? If not, I'll close the public hearing on it. And at this time, we have before you the resolution to close the order for the street closing. And I would ask for a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Got a motion? Second? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, at this time, item number 10 is discussion of the purchasing policy. And there was some issues that came out regarding that, and I don't know if, I guess, did everybody get a copy of that from the city manager? Okay, if they did, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Abernathy for discussion on what his recommendations are.
Yes, sir, Mr. Martin, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Mr. Martin made a comment in March in regards to the city extending more preference to local businesses when the city selects vendors. I began researching this potentially to create or update a policy in a way that satisfies the request. Neither I nor our attorneys could find a law prohibiting us from doing this. So this is legal. I did find a policy example that states that the organization will institute a purchasing preference to local businesses if they can match or come within a certain percentage of the lowest bid or quote performed by the staff. In that example, that was 5%. For example, if the out-of-town business were to bid lower than the in-town business, the city would award the bid to the in-town business if they were willing to get within, say, 5% of the lowest bid or quote. Our clerk and I looked in our records for any policies related to this, and we were able to find our purchasing policy. which itself is a little dated, and it's not been updated since 1994. There are several areas in this policy unrelated to this topic that need to be revised, and I'm working with our finance director and our personnel director to recommend changes based on current practice. Local purchasing preference could be added to this policy as well to support the encouragement of local businesses. I will add that staff has raised some concerns with a policy like this. Our staff likes to purchase from Hamlet businesses whenever possible, but there are exceptions to the rule, and I think that we would like to have some further discussion on that, especially get some input from you all as well. But as financial stewards of public money, they try to shop around and look for the most economic option, considering price, the quality of the item, as well as inventory or availability, and maybe even delivery time. I haven't come to a conclusion whether or not a policy update on purchasing for whether or not purchasing preference would solve the issue if it were put into policy. This is somewhat of a complex issue, and there are, I guess, two sides to the situation. It's important for us, very important for us to support our local businesses, and it's also important for us to make sound financial purchases. One thing I guarantee from a management standpoint, with your permission, is that I'll continue to instruct department heads and our purchasing agents to make sure that our local businesses get a fair shot and that they get contacted and quoted. I would also like to give you the opportunity to give some additional input and direction on how I should proceed.
Well, Mr. Abernathy, I don't think we're talking about bidding out every single purchase. If they need a set of spark plugs, there's no need to advertise and go get bids and all this kind of stuff. Just go get it from one of our local businesses or any other item that can be purchased. You know, less than, I think that you have to bid, what, $30,000?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Anything-
we're not talking about, we're talking about individual little paintbrush or this or that, or flowers from a flower shop, or catering from a caterer here in Hamlet, or things like that, or shirts, hats. We got people right here that pay taxes. Not only should we support these people, but they pay taxes. And that should be something that we ought to look at and understand that it's just common sense to me. Buy from the people in Hamlet. And if you can't get it, go to Rockingham. Go somewhere else. If you can't get it overnight, well, if it's an emergency, we understand that. If it's an emergency, you got to have it, and you can't find it, we'll go to Rockingham or go somewhere else and get it.
Marcus,
It's not that big of a deal. I don't see it.
The $30,000 is a large number. If there was some item that we needed, you know, on that, 5% would be, what, $1,500, is that right? That's quite a bit of money. I like the idea of buying local. And what I would propose is let's do a sliding scale. If it's less than $1,000, 10% within match. If it's within $10,000, 7%. If it's above $20,000, 5%. Because a trip to go get something in Laurinburg or Southern Pines, the person's hours to go, and the gas and transportation for a $100 or $200 item, I think we need to be a little more lenient there, and I'm along the lines of what you're saying. But we do have to have some type of number in place. You know, I'd like to see maybe entertain a 10% for a certain amount, and then go to a 7% for another amount. And if it's 20 or higher, like going up to the $20,000 to $30,000, make that 5% a max.
Well, I'm just really talking about a $10 set of spark plugs.
Yeah, and I think that was
or
part of
$10 paintbrush.
But we don't have a policy just on $10 spark plugs.
That's
We got to
what I'm
have a
saying.
blanket.
We don't need to advertise and get bids.
No, I don't think so
Do all
either.
this kind of stuff.
No, but like he said, we've got to be good
Make it
stewards.
simple.
And initially we threw out 5%, and I started thinking about the 5% in local businesses. And by the time we send somebody, they don't have it in Hamlet to Rockingham, or just because of 5%, you've got that person's hours involved. you've got the wear and tear on our vehicle, and you've got the gas to go over there and get it. Or if you have it shipped here, you've got delivery and you've got to wait for it. So I'd like to throw out that idea of a sliding scale for amounts. You know, because $10 to $15, if that's within the 10%, that's not a big deal because time you send somebody out of town, you see what I'm saying. I'd like the idea of something like that. Maybe we can make this not just the 30 mark, make it 30, 20, less than 5,000 or something. That's my idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with anything like that, but I agree with what Chief Martin said. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you originally said was just normal daily purchases. It strikes me as odd that, and I understand, look for the best price. There's no doubt about that. However, when you're going to Rockingham to save $5, $10, an hour time, gas to get there, there's no savings. And in terms of being good stewards of the money, we're actually paying more than we're saving. The local business is not receiving our purchase. Small things. I'm not even talking about bidding things out. I mean, I don't even.
Do we have documented cases of somebody going to buy something for $5 in Rockingham and it was $7 here? Do we have a documented case of that?
No.
Because that's not very good management there.
They do.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, we buy
If you're
so
ordering
many,
150
yeah.
or 300 or something, and they're $1 or $2 more per, that's an issue.
We just to clarify, if we spent time documenting, every little item that was purchased, it would eat up so much of our time just documenting.
I don't think there's any doubt
quotes.
about that. I don't know where that comes from, but I'm just telling you, I want to see us use our local businesses when possible. When the bid process has to be taken into account, then the business has every opportunity to bid. Correct.
I have heard this, they deliver. Okay, well, you know what? In Hamlet, you're not but within 2 miles of anything you're going to need. So if they do deliver, that's fine, but their tax money is not coming back to us. So there's no problem I see, and actually it's good to put one of our faces in that business just to say hello. So
there's very few things that's going to be able to be purchased in Hamlet that's going to reach that amount, with the exception of vehicles and things of that nature. So I mean,
well, obviously anything that major, obviously we would be.
You bid it out, and everybody has access to
normal
the bid.
everyday purchases.
I would just go a step further and say I think these two issues are mutually exclusive of each other. The bidding process in comparison to normal everyday purchases.
You got Miss Owens out here. She owns Bill Auto Parts in Hamlet. Ask her how much business she receives from the city of Hamlet. Ask Mr. David Lindsay how much he receives from the city of Hamlet purchasing items that he provides. It's a shame that we don't use those businesses exclusively unless we can't get it. Then we go somewhere else. Excluding major items. Of course, we would have to bid on major items.
Or emergency purchases that you had to have.
Or emergency, yeah. It's just common sense to me. Simple.
These folks have put a lot into our town. These people are taking care of our streets in front of their businesses. They're taking care of the sidewalks in front of their businesses. Just about every one of them is active in some way or form in Hamlet on a daily basis, not a weekly or a monthly basis. They're more active in Hamlet than most of us sitting up here. And they are paying taxes to this town. And we need to do it.
Yeah, I think just basically, and to sum it all up, is we get little revenue from business anyway. More business that closes, our revenue has to come from somewhere, and that's going to be taxpayers. So I would rather spend our money through our businesses, allowing them to stay open, continue the revenue that they give us, and we can steady move forward the way we're going.
Marcus, you came here seeking guidance, so we're not giving you any. We're just saying buy local.
Okay.
Yeah, plain and simple.
Would all of you be in agreement of putting into policy a preference policy where we would give preference to the business inside the city limits of Hamlet, even though they were not the lowest
Yeah,
price?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Would that
Because they
meet
pay
all-
taxes. These other people don't pay taxes to the city of Hamlet. They do, and that ought to count for something.
I don't think there's going to be, I don't really see where there's going to be a big price difference.
No.
But-
The scale is $1,000.
Yeah.
Anything over 1,000, you use a sliding scale. You know, I mean, 10%. Heck, for $1,000, I'd even be entertained going to 15% or something like that. I mean, just to say that because it's not a lot.
I have no problem with
But
that.
when it gets on up,
But I
some
think,
point there's
I
gotta
think
be-
most of the items we're talking about are small items.
Yeah.
We're not talking.
I mean, we've thrown out like paintbrushes and an oil filter or something like that, and I can understand why would you go all the way to Rockingham, spend $3 or spend
I think
$8
that's
in
maybe where the
gas.
confusion may be. We're not talking about John Deere lawnmower.
If you ain't got it though, and we got to have it, that's another issue. I mean, Billy's here also, Billy. I mean, you can address this too. We can talk about the same thing.
You sir, could you come up to the microphone? Thank you.
Billy, when you came over and bought the filters, you put the city of Hamlet, but you paid for the filters. I do not know where the filters went, but they didn't go to the garage. Where did they go?
They went to the garage.
Well, how did you pay for them out of your pocket? City of Hamlet did not pay.
She's got their bill right over there in the city.
Well, you sure paid for them when you got there that day.
No, ma'am.
Besides that, last year, Hamlet spent $6.34 with us, 1 year. Prior to that, I think it might have been 20-some dollars. Hamlet has never bothered to and you know what, that's not the point. The point is that this is our town, and we try to live well and help everybody, but then if the people are not going to help us, I'm about ready to stop trying and just retire. And,
That's the attitude we don't want.
and don't sweep the streets anymore.
That's the attitude we don't want.
Well, gentlemen, we will certainly be contacting our Hamlet businesses more often than we have in the past.
And I suggest, this is just a suggestion because we don't want equipment down that we can't run the street because we're waiting on parts. I would suggest, people like, Billy, your guys especially, I guess more so than anybody. These vehicles and the equipment we use are always going to need maintenance. You're always going to need filters and gaskets or different things to that nature. I would suggest just having a list compiled of things that you commonly use and advise whoever we're going to use or switch between. Hey, this is what we commonly use. If we come to you, we're expecting you to have it if you're going to be of service to us. I would suggest that. And I guarantee you, I don't know of a business in this town that's going to tell you, no, we're not going to stock it. We'll get it when you need it because they want the business. So it's going to take working together to get this done. We're going to have to do it.
Is she willing? Are the vendors willing to do that?
Miss Owens, would you, if he compiled something and gave to you and said, hey, this is what we use, could you have it available? If it's not, that's right. But that's what we're working towards, though, is if you do, we're telling our people, our employees, hey, shop local. And he'll compile, their guys will compile a list of items they commonly need and use and bring it to you and say.
All right.
I still like the idea of a scale or some kind of sliding. This is going to get so much, so much here that we can't predict. I still like the idea if it's $1,000 or less, I'd even go to 15%. I mean, to save gas time, whatever. I think we need to have a number there. It's not about limiting $5 paintbrush or this or that. I think we need to have a number in place. Do you not agree with that? Or does anybody agree with that? Does it make sense? We're good stewards.
Too much work on the staff to do all that. I mean,
Well, when he's doing his filters and he goes out and it's more than 15 or 20% to buy it here in Hamlet in bulk or whatever, I mean, there's got to be a number in place at some point. We just can't carte blanche say that we're going to pay locals whatever. We can't do
over
that.
$1,000 or higher, yeah, we would.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. 1,000 more, 15%. I think that's more
$1,000
reasonable.
or less. That could be a $10 paintbrush.
Could I just add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think we're getting anywhere with this. I think we're spinning our wheels, and we're not doing a service to the meeting or to the people that's here. Let's work on this at our budget meeting that's coming up. Everybody's able to come, and this is a issue that we do need to work on, and I think that is something that we can work on. I see where Pat's coming from. See where Chief Martin's coming from as well. And here again, I still say we're looking at two separate issues. We're looking at purchases of large amounts of products in comparison to going even to get a key made or just small, simple purchases that we use on a daily basis. And I would just like to offer that to the council. Let's just put that on the agenda for the next budget meeting.
I like that idea.
I'll make a motion to table number 10 until our budget meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on that. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and in all fairness to you, Billy, what is your sweeping schedule? Okay. And it's being done. Is that? Okay. But we're back in operation now. And I will ask you this, why do we not do our main streets at least once a week? Main Street and Hamlet Avenue. Of course, all these years, you know, the sweeper's been dear to my heart. But I honestly believe that the Main Street and Hamlet Avenue at least once a week need to be hit. And that's, guys, anybody, if we can do it, we need to work it out. Just so, because this business is where everybody's coming, and we need to do that. Thank you. I don't have anything further on. Okay, let's see where I am now. Okay, the next item of business has to do with text amendments to the city's zoning ordinance, and I am going to ask Ms. Strickland if she would come up and explain to us what we're supposed to be voting on tonight. There's a lot of material stuck in these two items that deals with the planning board zoning. So thank you, ma'am.
Certainly. This goes back to when we were doing a text amendment recently for NITRIGHT. And at that time, it was found that our zoning ordinance in two different areas was outdated a bit because of changes that the North Carolina general statutes had changed. So this is simply getting us in line with what the state requires. There's not really a whole lot we can do about it. This is what the state says we have to do. So Mr. Al Benshaw, associate with Mr. Morphus, he prepared these. You have Article 12, which is the bylaws for the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Adjustment of the City of Hamlet, North Carolina. So you'll be having a public hearing on that. And also you will be voting, and you will be doing your consistency statement on that. And then also you have a second one, which is the Article 13, the amendment procedure, which simply outlines a few changes that we're required to do if someone comes in and we need to amend that. So it's two different papers, but two different parts of our ordinance. But again, it's just changes made by the general statutes so that we need to be in
When were
line.
these made, Gail?
I'm sorry?
When were these changes made? Last year session?
I'm going to say yes because the Board of Adjustment Procedures, we just updated that maybe a year or so ago.
Some uses that you have to have a special use permit for, we didn't have a good, clear process laid out in the ordinance. And so I want to go ahead and put that in just so it's clear.
Right.
Otherwise, everything Ms. Strickland said is.
Right. And looking at it, they're making changes as we speak, so we may be doing this again very soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
How did
but-
this come up? Is this, who caught this?
Well, it came to pass when we were doing the text amendment for NetRight. It was something we had not done before. So when we started looking at this, realized that we needed to update. Like I say, Article 12 was just updated last year. This board updated it last year to the general statutes, but there were just major changes, and we realized that we needed to do that. Okay?
Whoever caught it, it was a good catch.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for me?
Okay, at this time, the planning board met on 3/16/15 to review the drafts and gave a favorable recommendation that council adopt the amendments as presented. At this time, we have an open public hearing for the first amendment, and if there's anyone that has any comments or questions on it at this time, please come forward. Council, do you have any questions on it at this time? All right, this is on the first one dealing with Article 2, and at this time I would ask for a motion to approve. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, let's close it. I'm going to close the hearing at this time. I'm going through my notes. But at this time I need a motion from council to approve the change to Article 12 zoning ordinance.
So moved.
All right, go ahead, sir. Okay, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Okay, you also have before you at this time the council's consistency statement, which also needs an approval. I would entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, the second set that is before you, which is Article 13, at this time, we'll open the floor for any comments anyone might have on Section 13, Article 13. Okay, if not, we'll close the section on that. You have before you the changes to Article 13, and I would ask for a motion to approve those.
I'll move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right. You also have before you now the consistency statement regarding Article 13, and I would ask for a motion on that.
I'll move.
A motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That was some heavy material. Item number 16 at this time, you should have before you tax releases for this month. Anyone have any comments on that? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept those tax releases.
So move.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Any further comment, gentlemen? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 17 is the adoption of a resolution, and I will read the resolution. Whereas Global Packaging has made the decision to expand its operations to their business located at 106 Marks Creek Lane in Hamlet, North Carolina, and whereas the expansion will create 33 new jobs, and the company plans to invest a total of $9.9 million over the next 3 years in the city of Hamlet, and invest a total of $13.3 million over the next 5 years. And whereas the average annual salary will be $33,634. This is higher than the average annual wage in Richmond County, which is $31,140. And whereas the City of Hamlet welcomes and encourages industrial development opportunities, and whereas the City of Hamlet has agreed to promote such development and growth for global packaging at the referenced property location through a combination of incentives, and whereas those incentives include performance-based infrastructure grants in accordance with the Hamlet Economic Development Grant Program to be awarded for a period of time not to exceed 5 years, and whereas those incentives may also include either debris removal, fee waivers, utility fee reductions, or infrastructure installations, which will be in-kind services provided by the city at no cost to global packaging, and whereas both parties will agree upon the most beneficial manner to accomplish this goal. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Bill Bayless, Mayor of Hamlet, and the Hamlet City Council congratulate Global Packaging. In witness thereof, I have hereunder set my hand and affixed the seal of the City of Hamlet to this 14th day of April of 2015. And I would ask for a motion of approval of this resolution.
So move.
Got a motion?
No, second.
And a second. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Okay. Next item of business is I also have a mayoral proclamation this month in recognition of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every community unit of Richmond County, North Carolina, and whereas sexual harassment, sexual assault, and rape impacts every community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will experience rape during their lives, and whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reported reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18, with ages 12 through 17 being 2.5 times more likely to fall victims of the assault or rape. And whereas with leadership and dedication we can be successful in helping to prevent sexual violence in Richmond County by increasing education, awareness, and community involvement against these harmful attitudes and actions. And whereas the City of Hamlet strongly supports the national, state, local, and individual efforts and the support in promoting the prevention of sexual violence and in encouraging a safe environment for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bill Bayless, Mayor for the City of Hamlet, hereby join federal, state, local governments in proclaiming the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and encourage others to support and promote the prevention of these damaging acts and attitudes. Thank you. Okay, item 19 is a non-discussion item. There will be fireworks show July the 4th at the Hamlet Fairgrounds. Fire Chief, you want to make a comment on that?
This is just something we had to put in the agenda for our permit application for the state to get the permit to do our fireworks.
Okay. And although they will be shot off at the fairgrounds, the people looking at them will not be at the fairgrounds. That's a closed area, okay? And best place in town to watch them is at the depot. That's great. Okay, at this time we'll move into other business. Item number 20, we'll go first to the supervisors and ask Chief Knight if you got anything, sir. Okay, Police Chief? Okay, thank you.
I have.
Yes.
Scott, I want to just say I'm glad we got the cameras in, the 4 cameras. I talked to you before the meeting, and you said that we had 4 in. If you need any assistance with some of the policy stuff, I'd be glad to help you. I've been looking into it and got some information as well. Worst thing we could do, like I told you, is if we have those cameras here and we're not using them, so we need to work on getting the policy as quickly as possible.
Okay.
What kind did you end up getting?
Provision. There's provision. We got 4.
Is that glasses or
Go right here. About the size of the microphone.
self-contained,
Right here.
completely self-contained?
They've already used them. Each sergeant's got
What kind of training do you have to have on those?
there's we hadn't had any opportunity to train on them. The college has got online class 20 hours starting April 20th to give some training toward policies and different things like that. I'm trying to get some folks to go, including myself, to that, but I appreciate any help you got on policies on that. But we do have 4, and they are using them, and they seem a lot of them. I mean, the guys are savvy with the new technology. I'm kind of older, and it's going to take me a little bit quicker to catch on to it. But now,
How much were these? Just curious.
those are $295 each.
Okay. Not bad. And it's self-contained battery inside it, everything, right?
Rechargeable.
I think, yeah, recharge it to the computer, plug everything up and down.
Charge them in the cars if they need to.
Yeah, it's got a nice little case to it. Got all kind of stuff inside. It's real nice.
I agree with Jesse. We need to get a policy as soon as we can because now that everyone knows we've got them, they expect them to be deployed.
Yeah,
So
we just got 4 now. We got a grant. We're trying to get 25, so every officer will have his own, just like he has his badge and gun. But right now, just on our budget that we had, we did 4, and each supervisor has one shift, and he's supposed to let the men get the feel of it, see how it works, get used to wearing it, rotate it out. So there's not one on every officer that we got, you know. But hopefully that's coming.
and I know you do this, I'm sure, but the last 2 weeks have been brutal on law enforcement officers. Officers making very, I don't want to armchair quarterback, questionable decisions. Remind your officers, treat everybody with respect, and think as quick as they can before they act, because it's been a bad couple of weeks for right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not taking sides on any of it, but some things are very, very bad and look bad for law enforcement. And just, remind your guys weekly or daily or whatever about how they treat people and interact with people and doing their job.
It's daily because everything's happening on the news is daily. So it's daily that we just, even when you tase someone, be careful on how you tase them. Make sure you tase them for the right reason. A lot of times people get caught up in tasing just because they're fleeing. You tase when it's a threat, like you spray pepper spray or your aspartame when it's a threat. Same way with your firearm, if it's a threat, and you got your levels of force that you got to go through. We're hitting it, every day because it's hitting us every day.
Well, I think in discussions, this council has not agreed on everything over the past few months, but I think that you've seen a unanimous vote of support to get y'all what y'all need to do your job safely and effectively and efficiently. And it's just it's the times we live in. You either adapt or you don't. Yeah. And I'm proud to say that we're moving forward and have at least a few of those cameras. We're trying.
Oh yeah, definitely. We appreciate the support and the encouragement. And you got any policy you want to send to me, I can give you my email or whatever we need to do. We can look at it and get it.
I hope they'll embrace it because it's just as good for them as it is for the public. I mean, it presents the story, good or bad for us and good or bad for the public. So.
They're really excited about it. The officers that's come in that's used it that I've seen and witnessed are really excited about it and getting in and plugging it in the computer. Even videos around coming into a swearing-in ceremony, cutting the lights off, coming in that room, showing the infrared how it lights up at nighttime too, carrying back chief, play it, letting me see it. They're all excited about it. So we got, everything labeled, serial numbers recorded. They help me with all that, make sure that we're doing everything. So
is that the Governor's Crime Commission grant that you applied for?
Yes, sir.
Good. I hope we get it.
There's some progress moving forward on that
Yes,
too.
sir.
I got some email this week, so I'm hoping that. And I talked to Jill about it. I'm hoping that we'll get those 25.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else have any questions, Police Chief?
No, I have a statement.
Okay. Go ahead.
I got a call the other morning about 4:30. Somebody decided to knock the door glass out of my building and go in, and your guys was there, and they called in a dog, and they apprehended the suspect on the property and everything, and they done a good job. They really done a good job, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate the work they done. They met me there and told me just to wait. We had to wait a few minutes, but it didn't take them long, and they found him. He wasn't in the building, but he was outside. And he didn't want to be bit by a dog for some reason. Yeah, he stepped out and said, "Don't turn that dog loose."
That's a good tool to have too.
Yeah, so, but I appreciate the job that they done. And I appreciate Billy and Brian. They come by and helped out just a little bit, so I appreciate them helping me, so they come by after the fact. So I just appreciate all the help everybody gives.
Thank you. Maurice, have you got anything for us tonight? Upcoming season and sign-ups and that sort of thing?
Good evening, everyone. Just want to say we wrapped up our basketball season on this past Friday. I want to thank the city of Hamlet, all the city employees that helped out, and the parents as well. Baseball, well, we actually will finish up baseball on this Friday as well as registration. We'll have our draft next Wednesday and Thursday, and the coaches will notify the players, and we'll get that rolling within the next 2 weeks. And just finally, I just wanted to make you guys aware that, well, we had some issues, and I was understanding that you guys were made aware of the issues we would have with taking away, having to charge people to come into our parks and rec. I don't really want to get in discussion about it. Just want to let you know that we had some areas of concern. You know, we want to let you guys know, so if problems come about it, then, you know, we've touched on it as far as the concerns we may have with some of the things that may go on.
Anyone comments for Maurice?
What, I don't understand what you said. Has there a problem come about because we?
Well, we had some areas of concern about that, and they were given to Marcus. In my understanding, he presented them to you guys, and
Yeah, we did discuss it during budget session.
Yeah, gentlemen, I wrote this to you and maybe in the weekly report a few weeks ago. Staff had a couple concerns about the us taking away the
I got you.
Parks and Rec fees, but those are challenges that we can overcome internally.
But that's what you're talking about,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if there was anything else, is what I was asking. And Marcus has probably already talked to you, and this has nothing to do with anything with you. And nothing to do with anyone else that was there previously. Scheduling, my son played on one of the teams, had a wonderful time. Some of the games started being canceled, forfeited because of issues involving folks on travel teams and stuff like that. Just wanted you to try to do some research and look at it and maybe check on some of the scheduling of those games, maybe even different start times of the season. Because what I saw was, and nobody was angry or mad, and of course it wasn't anything that anybody has done on purpose, but it's something that we probably need to look at. Some of the kids that don't play on the travel ball teams were very disappointed that they didn't get to play in all of their games because some of the people on the travel ball teams failed to show up for the city games. So if there's anything you can do with that.
well, the one thing I will say is I think the real big issue was the season got started kind of late. So usually that's kind of what carried over into the AAU seasons. I can assure you that we won't have that problem as far as basketball because that's something I've already experienced. I can't speak on other sports that I haven't experienced yet, but we won't have that issue in basketball anymore. But that's where it came about. We just started late, and it kind of just, college basketball ended before we did, so I don't think that should happen. But that's something I've already been working on, and we won't have to worry about it.
And I told the folks that you would be on top of it and get it straightened out.
Kind of got that in place.
Been down there a lot and heard a lot of good positive comments about you and some of the things you're looking to do, and I'm excited to move
Appreciate
forward.
that. I'm excited as
Add
well.
programs on up there and just see what we can do. For several years, I've asked about the property up there. There's been several pushes to try to get a new gym, new recreational facilities in town. Most recent was a $2 million project that we didn't get funding for on Boyd Lake Road, but at the last meeting we had was I guess it was the budget meeting we had a couple weeks back. I asked if we could find out once and for all who owns the property where the gym is located at, because I've been told that the county school board owned it and we were just using it, and I was pleased that the city manager found out that we do own that property. So hopefully we can start working towards a financially stable approach to meet our needs at the lowest cost to the city, but give the maximum benefit to the department. And had we not checked into it, we would still be under the assumption that the city did not own that property. So I want you to know that's something long-term that I want to look at. And I know I've heard some of the other folks up here mention that they wanted to do that as well.
Okay.
So just hold on. We're going to try to do some good things as well.
All right.
Do we still use the field behind Fairview Heights?
We still cut it, but we don't use it as far as, playing any sports there. We use it for practice and things of that sort.
Now, that land does, that field actually does belong to the school board, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Here in
That
the last,
belongs-
here in the last few weeks, an industrial league or church league wants to
Yes,
use
and also it's the softball league is going
Yeah.
out there as well right now.
Yeah, because I think last year there was a league that was renting it from the city, I believe.
Yeah, and this is the same league.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that belongs to, they're renting it from us, and then it's leased us from the school system, from what I understand. That field back
As
there.
long as we take care of it.
Have you checked on it? Or is that one of the things that we're going to just accept as
Just to clarify, is this the park off of Park Street?
behind
Okay.
Fellowship United Methodist Church?
We looked into this briefly just to confirm that the Richmond County school system does own it. And Gail might be able to refresh my memory if the agreement that we found elaborated on kind of more closely kind of the relationship between that park, that field, and the field, the relationship between Richmond County School System and us. But my focus was on Memorial Ballpark and answering that question. But Gail, can you confirm or clarify or elaborate?
I did not check when I was checking for Memorial Park. I did not look for ownership on Park Street. I was doing 99%
Can we check on that?
We can.
Okay.
A lot of times.
I remember the agreement we had on it.
Way back when,
Distinctly remember.
a lot of times, so much business was done with a handshake and kind of a verbal agreement. So sometimes it's kind of hard to track down things on paper if it's not on paper. But if it is, we can look for it and we'll get back with you and let you know. But I can at least confirm that the school system does own the Park Street Park behind Fairview Heights.
My concern then is we're subleasing it to another league, and we have no say-so on what they're doing. As our insurance, are we responsible for it?
I understand, Pat, my understanding is we're the only one that's responsible for allowing that field to be used.
That means our insurance, if somebody gets hurt
Yeah.
out there, so, and we're not having, we don't even have a
Except when the
representative.
school is using it, then it's their insurance.
But my point is people
Well,
out there
we need to
using
make
it,
sure if somebody's leasing it, they have their own.
Own
Oh, that's
insurance.
right, yeah.
somebody gets hurt out there.
Yeah, if a
falls off
league,
a
if a
leaf.
league comes out and pays us to use that field, they need to have liability.
And they also sign a waiver as well.
Yeah, that's
I just heard the lawyer say that was good, so that's a good thing.
Literally, you said that, I was saying to the manager, I hope we sign waivers.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Maurice.
Marcus,
Zach?
I'm gonna express again, I do appreciate you finding that out. That's something I've been really wanting to know, because we can't expand and grow out there until we found that out. And now that we know it, it will grow.
In saying that, I'd like for council to look at the study that we paid $5,000 or $10,000 in that submission. It wasn't just a grant application; it was a park study of all of our parks. I think Jonathan, you were here when we did it. That incorporated all of our parks together and a future plan for some direction for our parks and rec with walking trails and everything. And it highlights the concerns of what we can do at Memorial Park. Issues with flooding there, water standing, parking's issues are in there. It's got some issues with all of them that not necessarily are good or designate one location. And I would ask council members that hadn't seen it to take a look at it before we go spend some money on any kind of study or anything, because that one was done by the Wooten Company, I believe, did it out of Southern Pines. I think they did it, and it's comprehensive. And it was something that we had done not just for a grant. It was done to try to map out our future and with our parks and rec. So, I mean, want to spend more money on something that we've already got in place, and we can look at it and see if we like it and go from there, or deviate from it, or add to it, or whatever.
Did
We
they
got
do
copies?
everything at Memorial Park?
I think they
They
did all the parks.
and what-
They did every
where
one
we
of them.
needed some parks.
They did all of them, and we had to have a study done to submit. So that doesn't have to be submitted, for anything.
Thank you. Mr. Garner, you have anything for us tonight? Thank you, sir. We appreciate everything you do. We appreciate your wife, Candace, doing the taping for us. Thank you. Billy, you have anything tonight? Okay, we put you on the spot already, haven't we? Thank you. Robert Brown, do you have anything? Okay. Water Department, Jennifer, you got anything back there? I saw you back there. I thought tax office? Nothing? Okay.
Yeah, if I could, Gail, you're not here a lot, but you're here now, and I want to take advantage of this opportunity. Just want to thank you for all of the hard work that you do over there.
That's right.
I know a lot of the success of our tax rate is through your hard work, and I don't think that I don't think you're told that near enough. I was in a meeting, I think it was last year, and somebody actually made mention to our tax collection rate as being so good. So that's a testimony to you and your staff. I just want to personally thank you for your hard work there.
Thank you. Jill? Tammy? Thank you, Gary. Got all the hard work. Okay, at this time, we will turn it over to the city manager for his comment.
Mayor Bayless and City Council, I certainly want to thank all of our employees who do such a great job every single day and night just to keep the city running. I've got a couple things to look up. I'm going to look up our agreement with the Park Street Field and look up the Wooten study that looked at our potential improvement plans for our Parks and Rec fields, and I'll share that with you all, and I'll share that with Maurice if I can find it. Staff met with Duke Energy Progress on Thursday last week, and in the next few weeks they will have to do some work on Main Street, specifically the portion between Raleigh Street and the depot area. The wiring under the pavement in that section has deteriorated over time, and it needs to be replaced. They will have to do some directional boring underneath the pavement to remove some old wiring and replace the old wiring with new wiring. This time around, Duke is going to place the wiring in a conduit, which is like a plastic tube that will preserve the wiring and make it last much longer than just 20 or 30 years. For safety purposes, we will have to close a portion of the street during this time. This will begin sometime in the next few weeks, and once we are given further details and the approximate dates, the city will share this information with our citizens through our website and our social media channels. We apologize in advance for the inconvenience, and we've been told that part of the street will likely be closed for 2 to 3 days.
Of what street?
Main Street.
Main
What
Street
part?
between Raleigh Street and the depot. So that would include Jones on Main, Birmingham Drug, all of those businesses right in the heart of downtown between Raleigh Street.
And what kind of work are they going to be doing?
They're doing some directional boring underneath the pavement in that section. They're removing some old wiring that connects some of our street lights together. And some of that wiring underground has just been exposed to the elements, and it has deteriorated. And some of the, I imagine, some of the heat and the cooling and the moisture just deteriorates the plastic around the wiring, and at a certain point, those electric wires, part of the electricity just gets absorbed into the ground. And it's almost like imagining having holes in your water line. You've got water dripping out into the soil, or you have electricity, getting out.
Is this something that has to be done 3 consecutive days? And can we put any pressure on them to do this on the weekend? Minimally
I do
affect our
I do
business?
remember there being some discussion about them considering doing this on a Saturday.
That they can do it on 3
Mhm.
Saturdays, or if they can do it
Mhm.
on a Saturday and Sunday and the following Saturday. I think we need to put as much pressure on them as we can to make sure they don't adversely affect our businesses for 3 days. As a business owner myself, 3 days of not working,
Mhm.
3 days of being closed is a hardship.
Yeah,
on these
and
folks.
only part of the
Yeah,
street will
one
be
half the
closed at
time
one
is
time.
what we're gonna close.
So the street altogether will not be closed, from what we've been
You talking about
told.
one side of it or
That's
half
right.
of it?
on,
One side
on,
of it.
on one side. So in worst case scenario, citizens may have to park on the other side of the street to get into the business that they desire, depending on what day it is in this time period. And one thing that I can do is express our concern to Duke Energy Progress and ask the company that they have hired to perform this work on the weekend, and try to persuade them to do that. Duke is a great community partner, and hopefully they'll be willing to alter their schedule for us.
If nothing else, make sure that they leave something there that people can get into it, walk into and out of those businesses.
And Marcus, I know you're notifying, but I didn't hear it mentioned, but make sure our emergency personnel is notified first, so they know if they have any issues not to go that route if they're heading somewhere in an emergency situation and end up being blocked.
One more thing to announce. The 25th Annual Senior Games are going strong, and I've been asked by Ms. Wheeler, the organizer, to make the announcement that they will continue on through April 27th. This year's games include a first-time ever women's softball game playing out in Fayetteville on May 2nd. There is a Silver Arts event on April 20th at 5:30 p.m. at the Cole Auditorium. This will include drawing, painting, and performances, various levels of competitions, cheerleading. There's a mime act, as well as singing and dancing. And I have been volunteered to judge some of these events. I look forward to participating in this after hours on that day. And additionally, there is a field day Saturday the 18th at Richmond Senior High School. At this time, that is all that I have to report to you. Thank you so much for your input tonight with all of our items for discussion, especially for the discussion of the purchasing policy, because we certainly need clarification and as much input as we can drafting policies. Yes, sir.
When y'all researched the deed down there for the Memorial Park, our primary parking in front, I see that we own, but right there, that huge lot, that doesn't belong to us?
Yes, sir. The overflow gravel lot above the Memorial Ballpark, which is behind the press box, that is owned by the school system. There's a number of parcels there too. I guess you would say, if you're looking at the map, to the left of the parking lot, behind the parking lot and the field, there's a number of parcels. Some of them are privately owned. Some of them are owned by the city. Some of them are owned by the county, and some of them are owned by the school system. But the parcel that the gym itself and our primary parking lot is located on belongs to the city of Hamlet, and as far as I can tell, it has belonged to the city of Hamlet since 1939. We attained it in what I think it was someone's will.
In looking at this cutout right here, is that not where the press box is located?
Well, when on Richmond, I'll tell you what, I can I can
It's like the
review
ble-
this
it looks like the
tomorrow,
bleachers and the press box is on school property.
and I can
And also
clarify.
that parking lot.
Richmond, the GIS software has many parcels.
Uh-huh.
They have an aerial layer. Excuse me. The software has many layers to it, and one thing you can do is select the aerial, like the Google Earth, which will show you in comparison to satellite imagery where these property lines are.
Right.
And I want to say that I believe that press box is still on our side, but that's something that I can clarify a little bit further.
And then, of course, the other parking lot we use is the former Fiesta Brava parking lot. So our parking is very inadequate as it is, so we're going to have to look at acquiring these spots or finding out. Please verify, because that's a huge piece of property, and that used to be the primary parking before. That's where everybody used to go to play soccer. They'd come from the top, and baseball down from the top. We never parked down here at the bottom. So that right there is a big issue. But looking at this cutout right here, I'm concerned our press box might be on school property.
I will look into it, and I will let you know.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to say thank you to Jennifer for helping out down at the senior center. She helped out while we had a vacancy, and I'd like to say thank you for helping us out down there, Jennifer. Done a good job. We didn't hear no complaints, so you must have done something right. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Shannon.
down there.
Okay, I was thinking it was you. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, you helped, and we appreciate it, though. Okay. Well, tell Shannon we appreciate her help.
Anyone else have anything for the city manager? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Did you have anything that you wish to address tonight, Mr. Morpheus? Okay. Gentlemen, we'll move at this time to item number 21. Need a motion to go into closed session per NCGS 143-318-11A35 for attorney-client privilege and economic development.
So moved.
I did have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you so much. Anything in closed session. And, we're just got some updates. And at this time, we will. Has everybody got their mics on? Okay, we'll move along with comments in council. We'll start with Councilman Presley.
The only thing I want to talk about just for a moment is the hard work the staff's trying to do and our department heads to develop a budget for this year, and just let the citizens know that we're working on it, and that right now there was nobody here from the public or from any of the media outlets, but tentatively right now we're looking at balancing our budget with borrowing $826, I think it was $826 or $62,000 from our fund balance. Now, that's not final. In years past, we've borrowed upwards of $500,000, $550,000, but this last year we're looking to balance this upcoming budget. We're looking at over $800,000. Does that mean we're going to use all of that? No. I just want the citizens to know that things are getting tougher. They're getting tighter. I think they need to be aware that I don't even want to think about the tax word, the T word about going up, but that's a significant amount of money, and hopefully, again, we won't have to do that much, because our city manager and staff's looking at insurance, trying to get some reduced rates there. They've trimmed their capital needs way down, but again, this is a tough year, balancing the budget-wise, and we welcome any input, and it would be nice to have citizens here during our budget process so they'll know what we're doing and what we're trying to juggle here in the balance to provide and continue to provide the services that we offer the citizens now. But that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McLean?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Lewis?
I don't really have anything either. Just thank our employees for all the hard work and everything that they're doing, and appreciate them. Appreciate what they're doing, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Martin?
Well, I have two little matters. The Women's Club, Hamlet Women's Club met last night, and this is not an official request, but they did discuss maybe taking on a project up here at Main Street and Bowersfeld Street. The city owns that little area right there, it's a little park, about beautifying it and putting trees or flowers and fixing it up. But their concern was, could they get help from the city of Hamlet to do it, and would they maintain it if they planted all this stuff and stuff like that? I told them I'd check and see. So what should I tell them? They can get assistance from the city of Hamlet, or?
Mr. Martin, Miss Ritter with the Hamlet Women's Club
Well, she's one of the ones I talked to.
Yeah, contacted me a little over a month ago and wanted to raise a little bit of money and make a donation and donate some flowers and have an event sometime, schedule it and put the flowers in the ground. We are just really excited that they are wanting to do that. And I think that they'll at least have my help if they will do it on a Saturday. I'll go up there voluntarily and help them. But I think that we can probably look into that and have that discussion with our Public Works and see if we can get
one of their main concerns,
horticulturalists.
if they do that, would Hamlet maintain and weed eat and do what they have to do?
It's a part of the city, and it's actually
yeah.
a part of it's along Main Street.
It's on Main
And we
Street.
currently maintain it to some extent, so I think that it can be it's a part of our coverage area.
Well, that's good. That's good.
I think there's sprinklers already up there, aren't there? Yeah, there's.
Yeah, but it's been neglected for some time.
Yeah, oh, I know. They mow it, but it looks bad.
Yeah, it just don't look right for Main Street. One other thing, I was at an ABC board meeting today, and the manager of the ABC board, Mary Faulkner, asked me about the shrubbery out around the ABC building. It's probably 4 or 5 bushes across there. I don't know what they are, hollies or something. And she wants to know, can the city trim those up and, kind of level them out, beautify them, or whatever they want to do? I told her I'd have to ask the city manager about that, because I don't know what property, the city own that, or?
I'm not sure if the city does own that, but we'll look into it.
I know they get a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah. If it's feasible, we'll see if we can keep it up. I do know the Rotary Club has been looking at taking on some sort of beautification project, and I can mention it to the Rotary Club to see if it's something that they'd be interested in.
She asked me, and I said I would deliver that message to the city manager.
All right.
And see who can help trim up the bushes around the ABC building. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Bowie?
All I have is one thing, just a little history fact. April 1st, 100 years ago, the Hamlet Hospital and School of Nursing opened its doors by Dr. W.D. James and Lillian James of Hamlet. I just want to pass that along. That is 100 years old. That's all I have.
I just have a couple of items. The main thing is that the Public Library, Hamlet Library, is having their annual used book sale, which will be coming up the 24th and 25th of April at the library. And everyone's invited to go by and get a good deal on used books. The 30th of April at 5:30 p.m. here at City Hall will be our next budget session. And we did, over Easter weekend, we had a sewer problem. I got called on out at the American Legion. I made a couple of phone calls, and it was a city problem, and the city took care of it very efficiently, and I appreciate that. It looked good for the city. And that's all I have. Thank you. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.